There are moments in life when the world grows unbearably quiet. Not the soft, gentle quiet of a peaceful morning or the stillness of a calm night, but the kind of silence that presses down on your soul. You cry out, you pray, you beg, but the answers never seem to come. In those moments, it feels like God himself has turned away, leaving you to navigate the storm alone. You may even wonder if he has forgotten you, or worse, if he is angry. But what if this silence is not the absence of God, but the presence of something far greater than you can comprehend? What if the silence is his way of working on your heart, mind, and spirit in ways that words, signs, or answers never could? Today we will explore what God is doing when he is silent, why that silence feels painful, and how it is shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. The first thing to understand is that God's silence is never a sign of abandonment. Human beings are conditioned to measure God by immediate results. We pray for guidance, for healing, for clarity, and we expect to see proof instantly. But spiritual growth does not occur in a vacuum of certainty. Just as a seed must remain buried in darkness before it sprouts into the light, your soul must dwell in quiet, unseen spaces before your purpose emerges. God's silence is like the soil surrounding the seed. It is rich, nurturing, and unseen. While you may feel despair, that soil is working on you, preparing you for growth that is yet to be revealed. During periods of silence, God is teaching patience. Patience is not simply waiting, it is waiting with faith. It is learning to hold your life in his hands without demanding immediate explanations. When God seems silent, he is shaping the depths of your heart to endure the waiting, to build resilience against disappointment. He is teaching you that life's most meaningful lessons are often learned not through immediate answers, but through the endurance of unanswered prayers. Patience under silence is one of the most profound forms of faith because it demonstrates your trust in God's timing over your own. Consider this. When you are waiting for God's voice, you may feel restless, anxious, or even bitter. That unrest is part of the process. God allows this discomfort not to punish you, but to refine your character. Just as gold must be melted and purified in intense heat to achieve brilliance, your spirit is being refined in the quiet. The things you cannot control, the situations that test your resolve, the unanswered prayers that pierce your heart, these are all instruments in his hands, shaping your inner strength, humility, and understanding. In silence, God is teaching you to rely on him fully, rather than on your own understanding or immediate gratification. Silence is also a call to introspection. When the noise of life, distractions, and constant chatter are stripped away, you are left alone with your thoughts and your heart. This is when God allows you to see yourself clearly, not as the world sees you, not as your friends or family define you, but as he sees you. In the stillness, he reveals your hidden motives, your fears, your unhealed wounds, and your unrealized potential. It may be uncomfortable, even painful, to confront yourself in this raw light, but it is necessary for transformation. God's silence is not emptiness. It is a mirror reflecting your soul's condition, inviting you to grow into the person you are meant to become. Another vital aspect of God's silence is that it tests your faith in ways that presence cannot. When life is smooth, it is easy to trust God. When answers come immediately, when blessings are obvious, faith is convenient. But faith that remains steadfast in the absence of visible proof is faith that is unshakable. During silence, God is strengthening the foundation of your belief. He is asking, in effect, do you trust me even when you cannot see me? Do you trust my plan even when it feels like nothing is happening? This type of faith is rare, but it is what transforms ordinary believers into extraordinary ones. Silence also fosters spiritual maturity. Many of us rush through life seeking immediate results, constant stimulation, and instant gratification. God's silence slows the pace. It forces reflection, contemplation, and dependence on him. In these moments, you learn that your value is not dit or mined by outcomes, but by your character, your perseverance, and your faithfulness. Silence becomes the space where your inner life grows, where seeds of wisdom take root, and where your spirit learns to lean fully on God rather than the fleeting securities of the world. One of the most misunderstood truths about silence is that it is never passive. While it may feel as though God is doing nothing, he is actively at work in ways you cannot see. Perhaps he is orchestrating circumstances in your life to align for a breakthrough. Perhaps he is placing people, opportunities, and experiences along your path that will appear only when the timing is perfect. Perhaps he is gently removing what no longer belongs in your life. pruning distractions, attachments, or toxic influences. In His silence, God is working with precision, timing, and wisdom far beyond human understanding. Silence also calls you to deepen your prayer life. When God seems silent, it is an invitation to approach Him not for immediate results, but for intimacy. True prayer is not a transaction, it is a relationship. When answers are delayed, you are challenged to pray more authentically, to pour out your heart, to be vulnerable and honest. In the quiet, your prayers evolve from demands into conversations. You begin to listen, not just speak. You learn to recognize God's presence in subtler ways, in a gentle prompting, in a feeling of peace, in the whisper of your conscience. Silence teaches that God's communication is not always loud. It is often tender and delicate, felt in the heart rather than heard with the ears. Moreover, God's silence teaches gratitude for what is unseen. Human nature often focuses on what is visible, immediate, and tangible. When God is silent, He asks you to value the unseen, the faith that carries you through, the lessons that strengthen your character, the patience that shapes your perspective, and the love that never leaves you. In this, you learn to appreciate the hidden blessings of life, the quiet miracles that occur daily yet go unnoticed. God's silence refines your vision to see beyond the surface, beyond the obvious, and into the eternal work of His hand. It is important to remember that silence does not last forever. There will come a time when the seed buried in the dark soil breaks through the surface. There will come a time when the storm gives way to calm, when prayers are answered, when clarity replaces confusion. But the beauty of God's silence is that it prepares you to receive these blessings fully. With a heart transformed, a character strengthened, and a faith proven. When the answers come, they are not simply solutions. They are the result of a person refined, ready, and prepared to embrace them in the fullness of God's design. During silence, resist the temptation to measure God by your timetable. Resist the temptation to judge His presence by immediate results. Silence is not a failure of His love. It is the manifestation of His wisdom. It is a sacred space where transformation occurs, unseen by the world, invisible to your eyes, but deeply profound in its impact. God's silence is intentional. It is purposeful. It is love in action, even when it feels like absence. In this period, reflect on your journey. Recall the times when life felt unbearable, when hope seemed distant, when prayers seemed unanswered. Look back and notice how God had been working even then, how doors opened when you least expected, how lessons were learned through struggle, how strength was developed in hardship. The same God who worked in your past silence is working now, even if you cannot see it. Trust that He is present, that He is active, and that He is preparing something extraordinary in your life. As you sit in silence, embrace the process. Allow the quiet to teach, refine, and strengthen you. Let patience shape your character. Let faith deepen your trust. Let reflection reveal your heart. Let prayer become a dialogue, not a demand. And above all, let hope rise within you, knowing that God's timing is perfect, His wisdom unfathomable, and His love unending. The pain of unanswered prayers, the frustration of waiting, the doubt that creeps in, they are all part of a divine process. In the stillness, God is doing what only He can do. He is shaping you, guiding you, and preparing you for the life He has designed for you, a life far greater than you could imagine, a life that your prayers are only beginning to hint at. When you understand that silence is not emptiness, but fullness, you begin to see God's hand in ways you never did before. You realize that every moment of quiet, every unanswered prayer, every delay has a purpose. You begin to trust that He is at work even when you cannot see it, and you begin to find peace in the waiting. This is the mystery and beauty of God's silence. It is a space where transformation occurs, a space where faith is forged, and a space where the soul learns to trust fully in the one who is always faithful, even when He is silent. So, the next time you find yourself in a moment of silence, do not despair. Do not assume God has abandoned you. Instead, lean into the quiet. Reflect, pray, and trust. Recognize that this silence is sacred, that it is purposeful, and that it is part of a divine plan far greater than you can see. God is at work even now, shaping your heart, refining your character, deepening your faith, and preparing you for the answers, blessings, and clarity that are yet to come. Silence is not God's absence, it is God's presence in disguise. And when you embrace it with trust, patience, and faith, you will discover that the silence was never empty. It was full of His love, His wisdom, and His perfect timing. When God is silent, it can feel like the world has stopped listening. Your prayers seem unanswered, your heart grows heavy, and you wonder if He has turned away. But silence is not absence. It is one of the most powerful ways God works in your life. It is a sacred space where faith is strengthened, character is refined, and your purpose is prepared. What feels like emptiness is actually the most fertile ground for transformation. During these quiet seasons, your faith is being tested and strengthened. True faith is not built when life is smooth or answers come easily. It grows in the moments of uncertainty, when trust must rise above what you see, when hope perseveres despite the delay. Silence teaches you to rely on God fully, not on your understanding, your timing, or immediate results. Faith born in the quiet becomes unshakable, a guiding light that carries you through every storm. God's silence also produces clarity of heart and mind. When the noise of life is removed, you are left with yourself. This is the time to reflect on your desires, motives, and dreams. What is truly yours? What aligns with God's plan? What is influenced by fear, pride, or expectations? In the quiet, distractions fall away, and the truth of your calling emerges. You begin to see your life from a higher perspective, understanding that every step, even the painful ones, is part of a greater design. Character is being refined in the silence. Patience, resilience, humility, and perseverance are developed in ways no comfort or immediate answer could ever teach. Trials and unanswered prayers are the crucible through which your spirit is purified. Like gold in the fire, your strength, integrity, and empathy are being formed. By the time the silence ends, you are no longer the same person who began waiting. You have grown in ways that will allow you to handle blessings, responsibilities, and challenges with wisdom. Silence cultivates spiritual discernment and intimacy with God. When answers are delayed, prayer becomes less transactional and more relational. You learn to listen, to notice subtle nudges, and to recognize the gentle ways God communicates. This quiet space deepens your connection with Him, helping you feel His presence even when His voice is soft or absent. You begin to understand that God is always active, even when His work is hidden. The season of silence also produces resilience and hope. You learn to endure without bitterness, to persevere without certainty, and to trust without visible proof. Hope becomes a sustaining force, reminding you that God's timing is perfect. Patience is no longer a struggle, but a learned skill, an anchor for your soul. The silence, once painful, becomes a teacher of perseverance and endurance. Through the quiet, God is preparing you for breakthroughs. The faith, wisdom, clarity, and character built in silence become the foundation for transformation. When answers finally come, they are not just solutions. They are the manifestation of the growth, preparation, and alignment that happened in the unseen moments. Opportunities, blessings, and purpose are revealed not by coincidence, but by divine timing. You are ready to receive them fully, equipped with understanding, gratitude, and insight. Silence also shapes your relationships and your impact. You learn empathy, patience, and love for others who are navigating their own silent seasons. The quiet strengthens your ability to lead with integrity, serve with compassion, and influence others positively. The lessons of solitude prepare you not just to receive blessings, but to share them wisely. Another gift of silence is gratitude. In quiet reflection, you begin to notice the subtle blessings that are always present. The meals shared, the moments of peace, the kindness of others. These small graces are more visible when the distractions of life are removed. Gratitude reshapes your perspective, turning waiting into appreciation and uncertainty into trust. Ultimately, silence opens the doorway to purposeful action and wholeness. You step forward into life not as someone who merely waited, but as someone transformed. The lessons of patience, faith, resilience, and discernment now guide your actions. You are capable, empowered, and aligned with God's plan. Your prayers, once delayed, are met with clarity, timing, and fullness. But more importantly, your soul is ready to embrace the life God has designed for you, a life rich with purpose, impact, and spiritual depth. So when God seems silent, remember, the quiet is not emptiness. It is preparation, growth, and love in disguise. It is the refining fire for your faith, the stillness that sharpens your clarity, and the hidden hand that molds your character. Trust in the unseen, embrace the waiting, and step forward with hope. When the silence finally breaks, you will emerge transformed, ready to receive blessings, fulfill your purpose, and walk fully in the extraordinary life God has been preparing for you all along.